Coming up, happy Halloween. We'll take a look at the history behind this spooktacular holiday, the costumes, the candy, and much more. Also, one zoo is getting into the Halloween spirit. We're there with details. Then fall back. It's that time of year again when we turn the clocks back 1 hour. We'll explain why we do that and what you can do at home to adjust to the time change. Plus, a kid's guide to voting. The presidential election is just days away. We'll explain how we elect the President of the United States and how one group of students is using their creativity to help get out the vote.
My friends and I have written about 1,500 postcards to voters in Texas and Virginia, encouraging them to vote and use their voice.
It feels great doing this with friends and knowing that my friends are also passionate about this issue. It feels good knowing that we might make a change and get more people to vote.
And we're at the World Series. Some of the best players in baseball speak with our own Nightly News Kids Edition correspondent about the game and the advice they would give their younger selves.
When I was 13, I would tell myself, hey, make sure you take care of school. Because taking care of school is essential to life. It's not about the school, it's about the discipline that you create in school. Then after that, really just cherish the time with your friends and stuff.
This is NBC Nightly News, Kids Edition.
Welcome back to Nightly News Kids Edition. It's great to be with you. Happy Halloween, everyone. We have an awesome lineup ahead, from our picture of the week to everything you want to know about Halloween. And I'll even get into the Halloween spirit with my costume reveal a bit later on. I'll give you a hint. It involves a little magic. But before we get to all that, let's begin with the top stories we're covering. The upcoming presidential election, of course, leads them all. We are just a few days away, and many people aged 18 and older who are already registered have started voting for who they want to be the next president of the United States. But voting in an election is different than voting for, say, your favorite snack at school. Our friend Laura Jarrett explains.
You could say there's a lot on the line in this presidential election. Early voting has begun. Did you know in the very first elections held in this country, voting was done by voice? Later, paper ballots were used. Today, some people use a touchscreen to vote electronically, while others fill out a card that is usually then scanned by a computer. You have to be 18 years and older to vote. This year, the big thing on the ballot is the presidential race. Vice President Kamala Harris, a Democrat, is running against former President Donald Trump, a Republican, who is seeking a second term in office. Other candidates might also appear on the ballot depending on where you live. And guess what? The person with the most votes doesn't automatically win the presidential election. There's something called the Electoral College.
There's a system that our founders gave us where those votes go into an electoral college. Each state gets a few electors, and the person who gets the most electoral votes is the person who becomes president. That may not be the same person as the person who got the most popular votes.
So think of it as a point system. Each state is assigned a number. So for instance, Michigan gets 15 points. The biggest state is California, of course. It's worth 54 points. A presidential candidate must win enough states to get 270 points. And even though you have to be 18 years and older to vote in the U.S., there are some things kids can do to follow along on election night. Maybe plan a party or make a chart of who's winning. And do your homework.
One way they can participate is by researching what the different political parties stand for and what the individual candidates stand for. So what do they believe? What are their values? What do they say they will do if they get elected? And then think about how you feel. What do you believe? What do you think is the right decision for the country? And the more kids know about what's at stake and the issues that are being decided, the more they can have conversations with their family and friends, and the more exciting the election will be for them.
So when do we know the election results? Well, it depends. In the past, the results usually came in late in the evening. But this year, there could be a delay if it's close, since so many people are voting and it could take some time to count all the votes. And even though you might not be eligible to vote yet, what happens on Election Day affects your future, too.
Okay, Laura, thanks so much. Well, speaking of voting, a group of 6th grade students in Washington, D.C. are using their creativity to help encourage people to vote on Election Day. It's a story we first brought you 4 years ago on Kids Edition, and now the same students are back to get out the vote once more. Our friend Kate Snow has details in this week's Inspiring Kids story.
Back in 2020, these 3rd grade students from Washington, D.C. found a creative way to encourage people to vote in the presidential election.
We've been writing postcards to people to get them to vote more.
Designing postcards while social distancing during the COVID-19 pandemic, they spoke with Nightly News Kids Edition about the messages they were sending out.
For example, one of mine said, "Be a part of democracy, vote." Another one said, "Voting is your superpower." Dear Grace, every vote counts, including yours. Well, if these kids can help vote even if they're not old enough, then I can too.
Yeah, let's put some down here.
4 years later, the very same kids are keeping up the good work and getting out the vote again.
It's really cool that we can keep on doing this over the years. It feels so great to be a part of something that started off so small and then to watch it grow to be this level.
Working together with my community on it, working with my friends, the kids from different schools. It's a lot of fun.
Now in 6th grade, Zara, Aria, and Simone, along with more friends, are sending out even more postcards this year.
My friends and I have written about 1,500 postcards to voters in Texas and Virginia, encouraging them to vote and use their voice.
At the end of the day, we live in a pretty high-tech culture. This is a really low-tech, personal, and meaningful way to reach someone through their mailbox.
With the help of their parents, these students have been holding postcard parties the last few weeks in the countdown to Election Day.
It feels great doing this with friends and knowing that my friends are also passionate about this issue. It feels good knowing that we might make a change and get more people to vote.
I do think these kids are going to be lifelong democracy enthusiasts, and I think that their energy is really infectious. I'd say it's really inspiring to the adults in their lives.
They don't take sides in the election, but they focus on empowering voters through encouragement and information.
We want them to feel supported in voting. So we say things like, your vote is your voice, and we encourage you to use it. You know, you got this. And then we also include some of the basic information like where they can vote and where they can learn more about the candidates.
Whoever leads this country, they'll affect us individually and as a whole. And so everyone should vote so that they can get their vote out, their opinion across, because everyone's opinion matters.
And to those at home who want to do something, these kids had some words of advice.
Whether you're eligible to vote or not, you have a voice and your voice can be heard. And anything, no matter how small, just sending a couple postcards, that can really make a difference.
Get together with some of your friends or your family and your community and brainstorm, and then set your mind to one goal and then do it.
Have your own postcard party, reach out to different people, and just remember, kids have a big voice too, so you can still make a difference at a young age.
Kids making a difference, inspiring voters to make their voices heard at the polls.
All right, Kate, thanks very much. Meantime, it's that time of year again to fall back. Daylight saving time ends Sunday, November 3rd at 2 a.m. Our good friend Dylan Dreyer explains what this means.
On Sunday, November 3rd at 2 a.m., Daylight Saving Time officially ends when we turn the clocks back 1 hour and return to Standard Time. So essentially, we fall back. But why? There are a few theories on how Daylight Saving Time all began. Germany started observing Daylight Saving Time back in 1916 as a way to reduce energy costs during the First World War. The United States officially adopted Daylight Saving Time in 1966, following the passage of the Uniformed Time Act as a way to conserve energy. Think about it. If it's lights out longer, there's more daylight, and you will need to light your home at night for less time. And the farmers like this plan too. Did you know Hawaii and most of Arizona are the only 2 states that do not observe daylight saving time? But some 70 countries around the world do observe daylight saving time. The beginning and end dates vary from nation to nation, so just keep that in mind if you are ever traveling around the world. So when we turn the clocks back an hour, we will gain an hour of sleep. But it also means less time to play outside in the daylight. Daylight saving time will return on Sunday, March 9th, 2025, when we spring forward. Good news, most phones and computers automatically adjust the time, but manual clocks will need to be adjusted. So if you or your parents have one of those, don't forget to turn your clocks back 1 hour before you go to sleep on Saturday, November 2nd. This way, when you wake up on November 3rd, it will be the right time. So get some sleep.
All right, Dylan, thanks very much for that. Well, the time change can impact our sleep and daily schedule. Here now with some tips for how you can prepare for the end of daylight saving time and adjust to the time change is our friend Dr. Natalie Azar.
One thing that's good is that when we fall back in the fall, it's actually not as impactful on our lives as the spring forward. So that's the one thing to keep in mind, first of all. But there are, I think, 3 things that you guys can do that will help you make this transition easier. And one of them is to stay on a consistent sleep schedule and have a consistent routine. When you do that, that kind of signals the brain that you're ready to start to go to sleep. So whether that's reading a book or taking a bath, if you try to do it kind of the same time every night and the same routine every night, you're very likely to fall into that nice sleep. The other thing that we say a lot is to limit screen time. And this is really, really essential. The easiest way to remember what the screens do to you is that they send out something called a blue light. And you think of blue is bad, B and B, easy to remember. Sometimes your phones actually have a way to reduce that blue light, or the easiest thing to do, you guys, just turn it off and put it aside. And then lastly, no big snacks before bedtime. That also disrupts the hormones, which are the chemicals in the body that signal that it's time to go to sleep. So if you're hungry, by all means, have a light little snack, but no heavy meals or like lots of sugary things right before you go to bed. And if all of that doesn't work and you're still struggling for a couple of days, just remember your body is this amazing machine that will adjust to the new schedule. Just give it a little bit of time.
Dr. Natalie Azar, thanks so much for that great advice. In other news this week, Los Angeles Dodgers and New York Yankees fans are going crazy over the World Series. Our Kids Edition correspondent Andres scored a big win. He was able to speak with a few players, including Dodgers All-Star Mookie Betts, before Game 4 of the World Series at Yankee Stadium.
Thanks, Lester. I'm here inside the Yankee Stadium right now. It is a packed stadium with 49,000 fans. Earlier today, I got to speak with the players, and I asked them what advice would they give themselves if they were 13 years old if they went back to the past. Take a look at what I have to say to them. Mookie, could I interview you real quick?
Right here.
Okay, so I have one question. What advice, if you were to travel back in time, what advice would you give your 13-year-old self?
When I was 13, I would really, that's a great question. When I was 13 years old, I don't even remember when I was 13 years old, that was so long ago. I would say, when I was 13, I would tell myself, hey, make sure you take care of school. Because taking care of school is essential to life. It's not about the school, it's about the discipline that you create in school. And then after that, I mean, really just cherish the time with your friends and stuff, man, because when you're 13, you don't have any responsibilities in life, and so really have fun and make sure you take care of school.
Thank you so much.
Yes, sir. All right, brother. Yes, sir.
At that time, have fun. Have fun, play hard, but you know, if you wanna get better at baseball or anything, especially nowadays with how competitive everything is, you gotta outwork everybody. Outwork everybody, stay focused always. Treat people the right way. Have fun though. And as you get older, you can, grind more and get more competitive. But 13, dude, go have fun. Those are the best days of your life.
Yep. If you were to go back in time to your 13-year-old self, what advice would you give him?
I guess I would say enjoy a little bit more of
every moment of your life. I feel like I was caught up on a lot of what I need to do to be a professional baseball player. I didn't really enjoy that much my years when between like 13 and 16, so enjoy a little bit more of your time.
Best advice is never stop dreaming. Never stop dreaming, right?
Andres, that was awesome. Thanks very much. Way to land those interviews. Okay, let's turn now to Halloween. From the costumes to the candy. It's a holiday we know many of you guys look forward to every year, but did you ever wonder how this spooky day came about? Well, it's been on the minds of many of our viewers, so we're revisiting a story we did last year on the history of Halloween. Here's our friend Kristen Dahlgren.
Halloween is celebrated on October 31st every year. According to many scholars, the yearly tradition dates back some 2,000 years, when a group of people in Europe known as Celts celebrated the end of the harvest and the start of a new year, something that Halloween expert Leslie Ballantyne has studied for years.
It was on the cusp of winter, so it's looking out into the dark and dangerous season. People got together, but they also thought about what was out there in the dark. It was a very supernatural time. And in Ireland and Scotland, maybe 500 or so years ago, people celebrated this by coming together, having a party, playing games, building a bonfire, bobbing for apples, and trying to tell the future. And those were our very first Halloween parties.
So on October 31st, people would light bonfires and wear costumes to fight off ghosts. This night was known as All Hallows Eve, which later became more commonly known as Halloween. Halloween first became popular in the United States right around the Civil War. The first Halloween parties in America were held in the late 1800s. Then, years later, came trick-or-treating.
In America, trick-or-treating came from tricks. Around Halloween time, early in the 20th century, kids would put on costumes and go out into the streets and accost people and ask them for sweets or for money, or they'd bang on doors and demand treats. And if they didn't get any, they would come back and sometimes mischief would ensue. Toilet paper would hang in the trees, the windows would be soaked, and over the course of a couple decades, this became the trick-or-treating we have now. Very few tricks, lots of treats.
Speaking of Halloween treats, do you know what candy corn was originally called when it was first invented? Chicken feed. The candy still remains popular today. And you know those jack-o'-lanterns you see every Halloween and have fun carving? Well, years ago, experts like Leslie say they were used to scare away the evil spirits.
Hi, my name is Willow. Hi, my name is Grayson. We love Nightly News Kids Edition. Our question is, are witches real?
So when we ask if witches are real, I think the first thing we need to do is figure out what is a witch. And most people would agree, whether it's 300 years ago here in Salem, Massachusetts, or today, that a witch is a person that can use some magic. If somebody believes themselves to be a witch or calls themselves a witch, that's not a bad thing. People believe that magic is real, and they believe as part of their practice that they can do some magic. So some of our friends in Salem who are witches will use magic, but you also have to combine that with hard work and being kind to others. And magic comes from your good thoughts and your hard work and your really good intentions.
But despite the spookiness, Halloween is a date kids of all ages, and many adults too, look forward to every year.
People still celebrate Halloween today because there is no other night like it. On Halloween, there is a certain magic that comes with the nighttime celebration of a holiday. Your neighborhood looks different. You look different. There's a freedom in wearing a costume, being out in the dark with a tail, with a cape, that you just don't get on any other day. And I think people enjoy that kind of imagination.
So no matter what costume you choose, let's hope the history of Halloween excites you as you look to have a beautiful time.
So I wanted to get into the Halloween spirit too, but first I have to find my costume. Let me try this. Accio costume. Whoa, what just happened there? My goodness. Wait a minute. I'm looking in the monitor. I'm Harry Potter. Yes, I'm going as Harry Potter this Halloween. I wanted to be part of the best-selling book series in history. You probably know the books were adapted into several movies, and guess what? Author J.K. Rowling and Harry Potter share the same birthday, July 31st. Fun playing Harry Potter for Halloween. I even have my own glasses, and oh my goodness, what's this, a lightning bolt? Oh, I'll have to get that looked at. Well, in keeping with the Harry Potter theme, it's time for our pop quiz. The question this week, what are non-wizards called in the Harry Potter universe? A, commoners, B, muggles, or C, half-bloods? We'll give you a few seconds to think about it. Okay, time's up. The answer is B, muggles. In the world of Harry Potter, witches and wizards have magical powers, while muggles do not. And kids who are raised by one magical parent and one muggle parent are called half-bloods. Finally, in our picture of the week, we have two stories for you. First, the Oregon Zoo is celebrating Halloween. The animals were gifted pumpkins to play and snack on this week, and looks like they're having a ball. Meantime, a two-toed baby sloth was just born at the Roger Williams Park Zoo in Rhode Island. We're told both mom and baby are doing well, and they also took some time out this week to snack on pumpkins. I hope they got to carve them, too. Well, that's going to do it for us, parents. Just a reminder, if your child has a question about any topic in the news, email a video to us at nightlynewskids@nbcuni.com, and we'll try to answer them in an upcoming episode. You can also follow us on Instagram @NightlyKids. And just a program note, you can catch a new episode of Nightly News Kids Edition this Saturday on NBC. Check your local listing for the time in your area. Thanks for watching, guys. Remember to take care of yourself and each other. So long, and happy Halloween.